Joining us now is Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island. He is a member of the Judiciary Committee.
Senator Whitehouse, you know, I used to be a spokesperson for many years, and what we call what the president just did is spin. And he is actively working out new spins to this story. I'm wondering your reactions to his latest spin here, and can you bring us in a little bit on the strategy that it seems like Democrats, particularly in the Senate, are taking on this Epstein Files issue?
Well, I think if you look at Trump's history, one of the things that you notice is that the word hoax for Donald Trump is like a poker tell. It's his way of basically admitting that something is true. So Trump Russia, he calls it a hoax. Climate change, he calls it a hoax. Now Jeffrey Epstein, he calls it a hoax. He's obviously scrambling to try to find a way out of the mess that he is in. I don't know what the Department of Justice has. I don't know what the files say, but clearly it's enough to put him into a state of really wild dodgem, trying to get out from under what his own administration has been conceding for months was a big reveal. And when there was no big reveal, I think people were justifiably concerned. Even if there's nothing about Epstein in there, which seems hard to imagine, it's a hell of a 180 to go from, I've got the Epstein list on my desk, we're about to do the big reveal, to, sorry, folks, nothing to see here.
I can't help but think, Senator, about how all of this dovetails with Emil Bove's confirmation hearing. You now have Senator Booking seeking Epstein information from Bove. You had a whistleblower come forward and say, in essence, this is a person who has said F the courts. Your greatest concern, if Emil Bove is confirmed for what is a lifetime appointment to the court?
Well, Bove has really distinguished himself as one of Trump's goons. And I think that what Senator Booker is concerned about is that in those months where he was the acting attorney general, he had to have some knowledge of what was going on with the Epstein files. This was kind of a big deal for Trump and for his supporters. They had made the big promise about the big reveal, and there was Bove smack in the middle of it running the show, and he's never disclosed what he knows about it. So I think that's what Corey is pursuing. The guy's just a bad guy. I mean, how long was he in the Department of Justice? It's been 6 months since the inauguration. He's already been in the middle of 3 huge scandals. One, dangling a criminal prosecution over the head of the mayor of New York to get him dance to Trump's immigration tune. The second, faking a criminal investigation to try to create a pretext to seize funding they didn't like because it was climate related. And the third, the telling courts to F off scandal, where we actually now have corroboration that, yup, he actually did say that. Those are just 3 things we know about in only 6 months. Right. So you can only imagine what a guy like that is going to get up to with a lifetime appointment and no restraint on him.
Senator, I really appreciate your point there, because it is an incredibly onerous slope that we're seeing Republicans put the country on in terms of the judiciary with this appointment. But I also can't help, and I would love to get your reaction to the idea that you've got a little bit of Republican hypocrisy here served on a cracker in this way. You've got Republicans in your body right now, Republican senators who are clamoring. They want the Epstein files revealed. They need to know. It's important that we find more, put the information out there. And yet and still, you have Senator Dick Durbin making the point that saying that the committee must hear from the whistleblower behind the accusations that you just laid out with the Res Ruvini. But Chuck Grassley saying, we're just going to go right past that. We don't need to know anything else. We don't need to confirm or hold out to the public the substance of what the whistleblower has said about Mr. Bove, about some of the things that you've already put on the table. And I just find it to be, at this point, it's almost a joke talking about the rank hypocrisy of Republicans, because that's the only soup they live in.
Yeah. Well, there are two stories here. One is the prosecutorial abuse and mischief that Bove has gotten up to so badly in such a short period of time. And the second is the majority on the Senate Judiciary Committee basically laying down in advance in front of this guy, letting him know that they were going to honor assertions of executive privilege and attorney-client privilege before he'd even made them. And then he's enough of a lawyer to know not to make the assertions because they actually don't apply in this circumstance. But he'd been told, you don't have to answer questions. So he didn't recall. It wouldn't be appropriate to answer. That's not public information. Those were essentially all of his answers, and none of them are legitimate. There's none of them that are behind any real privilege that we should honor. And so you have this invitation from the Republicans in the Senate Judiciary Committee to come in and refuse to answer questions. And that's pretty novel.
Well, 900 former Justice Department attorneys have signed a letter saying that they're alarmed over Bove's nomination. You've got 80 judges, former judges, who have also signed a letter opposing his nomination. I guess, is he going to be confirmed on Thursday?
Too early to tell, but he shouldn't even be in the Senate Judiciary Committee at this point. The hearing should not have been a disgrace and a joke. We should not be where we are. So given how far out of bounds we've already gone with this guy becoming a nominee, with him not having to answer questions, with him carrying this load of freight of prosecution, mischief, and abuse that we're not even supposed to get our questions answered about, who knows where it goes. But I'm not going to throw in the towel. I think this guy is stoppable, if not in committee, then on the floor. He is a genuinely bad guy.
Senator, I think there's what Republicans' lack of appetite for learning more from for Bove specifically, but I also think it is notable, like Ruiz-Ravini came forward and at some personal cost, at some personal peril, any person who chooses to be a whistleblower, if you come forward as a whistleblower and then Republicans in the U.S. Senate say, we're not interested, we don't really care what you have to say, we don't want to learn more, what incentive is there then for another whistleblower to take that personal risk and come forward with sensitive information?
Yeah, not much. And to Michael's point about hypocrisy, this is coming through the chairman of the committee, who is legendarily a supporter and advocate of and for whistleblowers. And now he has a real whistleblower in front of him, and this time a whistleblower with the receipts. You know, they're always fussing about, well, there isn't enough corroboration for the stories about Brett Kavanaugh. Never mind, sidebar, that the FBI was instructed not to find corroboration. But here there is corroboration, and it's ideal corroboration. It's the kind of corroboration a prosecutor dreams of. It's real-time text with people who were in the room when Emil Bove said, we got to be ready to tell courts to F you if they keep trying to stop our deportations, in real time, talking about that exact language. So you don't just have a whistleblower, you have an extremely credible, thorough, backstopped whistleblower who worked effectively for Trump in his first term.
Senator, before we let you go, I want to get your thoughts on the breaking news this evening of the firing of Moren Comey, the daughter of James Comey, who worked on a number of important cases at the FBI, and today lost her job because she worked on those cases.
Including the Epstein case.
Including the Epstein case, exactly. Thanks.
Yeah, this is like bad Family Feud happening inside the Department of Justice. And while because she's Jim Comey's daughter and he got into a lot of well-deserved trouble himself, this is very newsworthy. It's also an occasion to remember all the serious, sincere, professional, career prosecutors who have done their jobs and done them right and then been thrown out of this department by the Trumpsters for the sin of having done their jobs and done them right. And so she is part of a much larger story of the weaponization of a department and the degradation of the senior staff.
It is that weaponization that we're seeing play out real time, Senator. Thank you very much. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island. Again, thank you.